Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto. Hope you're having a great day. So, we've had a long weekend over the past few days, so I just wanted to kind of relax, chill out, get some things done around the house. But as I was doing that, I was just thinking about, what's going on in the world today, right? You've got the missile hits, you got the blown up bridge in Crimea, you have the 80 plus missiles hitting Ukraine from Russia. So there's still that turmoil in that neck of the woods. You've got all kinds of energy problems, OPEC pulling back 2 million barrels a day. So these are significant things that are going to weigh on us for a time to come. You've got jobs being filled, less people looking for jobs. You have all those things going on, and then you start to look at what's going on that broad spectrum around the world, right? And the Philippines is weighing their $90 billion national budget, but one thing they did say, the recommendation from their finance minister is, there's no current reason for a CBDC, a Philippines CBDC. So that's interesting to me. So I put that in that kind of global space, right? And then I started looking at Brazil and the news that's coming out of Brazil. They had like a record number of companies registering as holding Bitcoin. That's kind of big. So you start to realize that there are markets around the world that are really picking up and adopting Bitcoin, and it's becoming an option, and not just Bitcoin. Let's get that straight. When I say Bitcoin, I don't mean just Bitcoin, really. I mean that there's a lot going on. A question I have. Huobi is a major player in the cryptoverse, and the major shareholder decided I'm going to sell some. I think he was selling 60%. I think that was the number. I'd have to go back to my notes. You could probably go back to my videos even faster. But the question now is, now that certain deals have been done, does Justin Sun of Tron fame actually pull the strings now over there? Because he was an advisor to Huobi, during this whole process. So it really makes you scratch your head. Just seems everything about what's going on over there just seemed a little off kilter to me, if you will. So I just look at that, and I'm not a big fan of Justin Sun. So yeah, no, I will not be using anything like Huobi anytime soon. But needless to say, there were other players that were interested in that particular project, that particular exchange. But if Justin Sun got it, that's going to be a big deal. So don't know yet. Or I haven't me personally, I haven't done enough research on it. And I don't think my son has either. He's usually the research king. Something else that I found interesting is, we all know Michael Saylor is a Bitcoin Maxi, right? We all know that he's all about Bitcoin. Well, he's saying that, listen, CBDCs are destined to fail because Bitcoin is the superior option. Now, I take that in because I also sit here and I say there are tons of other coins out there that are better options, right? I look at what's going on with Swift and them testing, the idea of use cases with CBDC. So basically them being the glue, the same way they're the glue behind different banks in different countries, for for large money transfers, it would be the same thing for CBDCs. Well, is that, and I mentioned this last week, is that, set up to fail or failure before it even really gets started? I think there's a place for CBDCs personally, because I think eventually they'll go away. Just no time soon. See what I'm saying? So everybody thinks, oh, Bitcoin's it. Well, could be. Bitcoin is it, and other cryptos could be it, but no time soon. The world's not ready for that. The world's not ready, or countries are not ready to give up on their fiat. Now, if you look at the EU, that was like a first step, right? Because each of those countries had to give up their own fiat to go with this centralized fiat. But do I think that can happen on a global level? I don't think so. I don't think so. Not without being pushed. So more people using crypto, you'll get more usage, more adoption. It'll be more prevalent. And that would that be how, you know, fiat in different countries just goes away? Highly possible. But we'll see. We will see. Something that really caught my attention is the EU, speaking of. I've been telling you about how they were going after MiCA, this whole new, you know, regulatory bill that was out there. So the European Parliament Committee on Economic and Monetary Affairs, shortly known as, you know, in short known as Econ, they voted 28-1 in favor of this MiCA bill. Now just go do some research on MiCA in my videos and you'll find it. I've been talking about it since I think March, early March. And the idea, the thing that sticks in my head about it is there are some serious regulations, but the one that sticks out in my head the most, it's the strictness around non-custodial wallets. What they want to do is they want to have centralized exchanges track that information. They want to be able to tie non-custodial wallets to a person, meaning if you're doing something on an exchange, that exchange has to know who you are on the other end. And yes, they would be able to, it's easy to tell that you're not coming from an exchange, right? That's big. That's huge. And I'm not just talking about regular non-custodial wallets, you know, hot wallets. I'm talking about all non-custodial wallets. Your cold wallets, your hot wallets, just all of it. And when I look at that play, when I look at that chess move, I sit there and I go, well, I literally just said, governments are not ready to give up their fiat because that would be like giving up power. Well, this is them trying to exert that power in a decentralized space. Oh, you can't do that. Can you really stop us? Can you really stop that from happening? Companies right now are exchanging via over-the-counter transactions, meaning direct one-to-one. Sometimes you know, sometimes you don't, but they're not going through exchanges, which means that don't have to report anything. What happens when people start accepting, you know, crypto as payment for services rendered, products being sold? What happens if all of that are over-the-counter transactions between two parties? I don't care what happens after that, but it could be very much, well, it came from you to me, and then I decided to go do something else. It's cool. You can have third parties, intermediaries, all that good stuff. But in most cases, there'll be OTC transactions until it hits an exchange, in which case that exchange would have to know who owns that wallet, whether it's custodial or non-custodial. If it's custodial, it happens all behind the scenes. The two exchanges would exchange information, all done. But if it's coming from a non-custodial wallet, now we have a problem. You'd have to identify yourself. In other words, KYC, know your customer. So how that would play out, no idea. But that is a crazy, crazy bill to move forward. And it's no surprise that the EU is not all about crypto. See what I'm saying? So pay attention. Do some research on the things that are out there. Those, I've given you a lot of subjects just now that I would be paying attention to. Something else that I'd be paying attention to is FTX. You know, Sam Bankman-Fried just announced that, hey, we're going to have FTX version 2 around Thanksgiving. That should be of no surprise, actually, given all the moves that he's made, that FTX has made in purchasing here and, you know, investing there. Look at what they've been investing in, what they've been purchasing, how they've been doing it. Look at how they've been moving. they've basically created or taken the what could be considered the best of both worlds, right? Here's traditional finance, here's newfound crypto finance, melded them together in this huge ass package with a whole bunch of stuff that you can do. It sounds like that's what BlackRock's doing, that's what Fidelity is doing, that's what JP is doing, that's what all the big boys are doing. And SBF is flexing some muscle, and I think that's what's going to be out there. I think that's what's going to be released, because it's been, you could see the pieces of that major transformation just happening over time. If you were paying attention, you could see it. Investment in Robinhood, things like that. Purchase of Voyager. There are things afoot that make it so that you could look at FTX and go, and not really just a crypto exchange anymore. Haven't been for a long time. So yeah, I think there's a lot going on there. I think there are a lot of benefits that can come from that. And it's going to put everybody else on notice. The pure exchanges, the exchanges right now that are just doing regular crypto exchange stuff, are going to have to start scratching their heads and going, whoa, how did we not see that coming? I would think that Binance has a lot of stuff going on that would match that, but I haven't seen the kind of chess moves that Sam Bankman-Fried has been making. Hat tip, bud, some good strategy, good chess. But at some point, chess becomes mahjong, which is even more complex, more thoughtful in what you're moving, how you move. So it's interesting to watch that play out. Speaking of Binance, Binance is about to delist certain pairs for Helium, or HNT. And that's leaving a lot of Helium executives scratching their heads. You know, it's the Helium Foundation. And they're scratching their heads like, why? What's up with this? What's going on? I don't know. I have not taken a deep dive into it. I told you I started feeling funny about, HNT Helium, I think last week or the week before. Just started feeling funny about it with some shenanigans that they've got going on. And I just said, glad I'm not holding any bag with that. Very glad. So I'm looking at everything that's going on and I'm just saying, wow, those are some big moves. Meanwhile, again, I'll say it again, meanwhile, the United States has not been making significant moves. They had this one move, right? Last week, I told you that they are, that the committee in Congress has asked the DOJ for some kind of a legal framework about creating a CBDC, as well as what it would look like to regulate stablecoins. That's interesting. Slow. About time, but happening. But something I've been paying attention to is everything around Ripple and their lawsuit coming from the SEC. Everything about this case just seems dirty. You know what I mean? Just straight up, just dirty. Because I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, first you have them trying to block, third-party testimony, the Hinman notes from the preceding chairman, just all kinds of things that the SEC is doing. Now, this guy Bitboy Ben Armstrong is saying, or passing along the notes, that, hey, it's kind of clear that William Hinman has taken bribes. And I'm kind of like, what? Seriously? Is that what you're thinking? And I'll have to sit back and give it some thought. Like, does it look like that? Because it's saying that, he's saying that Hinman took bribes, or he's alleging that Hinman took bribes to say that Ethereum is a commodity. How? Do you follow? A director of the SEC taking bribes. Do you know how difficult that would be? I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm just saying it would be ridiculously difficult. So, I don't know. But that's what I'll be thinking about this week. Is I'm just looking at, are there any other global events that could happen? We do have some events that are happening in this coming week where we're going to get numbers from various different companies saying this is what we've got, this is what we've done, yada, yada, yada. With those numbers could be, layoff announcements. Those are strong possibilities. So I'm paying attention to those levels of things that are going on. So anything that's going to affect a stock market sector, at a big level, because that would be a long-term effect, and anything that's going to happen at the global level. Those are things that I'm paying attention to, right? So this week I'm expecting, a lot of different news to hit. Do your own research so you're aware of all of the things that are happening. I keep telling you guys, go back to my previous videos. I'm telling you about things. I start talking about things a long time. I started talking about MiCA, that whole EU bill back in March. It's come a long way since March. It's about a hair away from becoming law. And that's with the non-custodial, verbiage in it. That's a big deal. It's also a big deal that the United States doesn't have anything, and you're talking about the EU about to have some serious regulation. I don't know if that's on purpose. Maybe the United States really is waiting to see who's going to flinch first and what effect does it have. Because the IMF, not a fan of crypto, EU, not a fan of crypto. But the new Prime Minister of the UK is happy with crypto. Other countries are happy with crypto. South America is happy with crypto. Things are going on that you kind of have to pay attention to, and they're just a lot of varying opinion at the government level, at the state country level, that make you stop and think. That's why I keep telling you, do your own research. Do your own research. See something interesting, dive into it. Take a deep dive. Have questions? Drop me a note. Drop me a note. Maybe I have time to do some research and I'll share it with you. It should not be your sole, source of research though. Read, look up, find out, be inquisitive, cross T's, dot I's. You're talking about your money, your finances, your future. Do your own research, please. Okay? Anyway, this is Eddie J on Crypto. If you like what I'm doing, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and absolutely hit that notification bell so you know every single time I drop a new video. And don't forget to tell your friends. Have a good one. Bye-bye.